Okay, it seems like a long time has gone by. What are there? There are tens of video, well, not tens. There's a lot of videos. I'm bad with numbers. There are a lot of videos, and it's only now that we're getting to the envelopes. We've sort of cheated and used the envelopes a couple of times, like when we had to in the filter, before actually talking about them, but I'm still going to describe them because there are some specific features that we need to talk about. So this synthesizer has 3 envelopes, not including the fake envelopes you can create in the LFO. That was pretty awesome. Anyway, so 3 envelopes. They operate in the way that envelopes operate, which is to say they are a source of voltage. There's an attack, which is the time that you set it to go from no voltage to the highest point of voltage that you're going to reach. And then there's the decay, which is how long it takes to go from that highest point down to 0 or down to the sustain level. Then there's the sustain level, which holds the voltage at a certain level that you define, or not at all if you put it on 0. And release is how long it takes the voltage to go from that point to nothing after you've let go of the key. So these envelopes, they are ADSR envelopes. They work the same way. They do have a few features. Okay, we're going to talk first about envelope 2, because envelope 2 is connected to the VCA. So it's the one you're going to be using primarily the most. I have traditionally, during this whole video, had the sustain all the way up, which just allows a sound that, basically a gated sound. You press down, the sound comes on, you let go, the sound goes away. But of course, we could set the amp to any number of settings. Long attack, long decay. The decay continues as I hold the key down. It'll go away even while I'm still holding the key down. If we bring the sustain up, then it'll hold forever. Release, of course, continues to play after you've let go. Get some nice punchy sounds. So that's basically what's going on with that. As you already know, I'm sure you've seen this done 1,000 times. You have a pretty decent attack time. So you can get some pretty slow attack and certainly slow decay. So the other thing we have over here is marked Velo VCA, which is this directs velocity to the VCA without having to patch it in the matrix. So you basically, when you turn this up, I'm going to turn it all the way up because it's the most distinctive way to demonstrate it. Now the faster I play a key, the louder it will be. The softer I play a key, the slower, the quieter it will be. So it takes a little bit of effort, I think, to really be able to master synthesizer velocity in this way. But anyway, then you basically have velocity happening with your synthesizer sounds. The amplitude of the synthesizer sound. And there's varying degrees. So a little bit more subtle down near the bottom. Anyway, you probably got that long before I stopped doing it, but yeah. So you have this easy and quick way to direct velocity to the amp as controlled by this envelope. So that's very, very convenient. Envelope 1, we've already had some experience with, because envelope 1 is the one that is hardwired to the 2 filters. So when you turn up the built-in envelope amount control on your filters, you already have this envelope thing happening. But as I demonstrated, I believe elsewhere, you are not bound to use that connection as long as you don't turn on the envelope amount. This envelope can be directed anywhere you want without touching the filters. So that gives you the freedom to, you know, certainly direct it to the pitch of an oscillator if you want. Oh, no, I've done that thing. You can direct it to the pitch of an oscillator if you want. And of course, we're not controlling the filter with it because we don't have the envelope amount. But you can add the envelope amount and still have the same thing happen. Now you're having both filter and pitch. So you have the ability to use these envelopes in any way that you see fit, even though they are directed, like for example, envelope 1 is directed to the filters. So if we turn, like if you do have it directed to the filter and no longer have it directed to the pitch, I'm getting a very distinctive sound here. Next to this, you have the Velo VCF, which directs the velocity to control the intensity of the envelope as it's applied to the filter cutoff. So if we turn this up, you get the same effect that you were getting with the amplitude, but now with the filter cutoff. The softer you play, the slower you play, the more closed the filter is going to be, the faster or harder you play, the more open the filter is going to be. And certainly that is true if you're using the other filter as well. So basically you have the ability through velocity to control the filter cutoff point. So that's really cool. And as far as expressivity goes, it's very, very convenient to just have that slider there. You don't have to patch anything. The patch is relatively quick, but it's really convenient just to have that sitting there. And you can use them in tandem, which is basically how a lot of acoustic instruments operate anyway. The more softly you play, the less high frequencies are involved. So you can do instrument emulation should you desire to. All right. Now, we have envelope 3. Envelope 3 is not hardwired to anything. It is open to be directed anywhere you want. So let's do what everyone wants here. I know this is what you want. We'll go to a square wave and we'll take envelope 3 and we will direct it to the pulse width modulation. So now envelope 3 is patched. It has to be patched, otherwise it doesn't do anything. You have to patch it to something. I've patched it to the pulse width modulation of VCO1, so that's what we're hearing. So this one is free to do whatever you want if you don't want it to be doing, if you have the other one set someplace else. One little feature that this has that I'm going to change the setting to better demonstrate it. We'll put envelope 3 to the pitch of oscillator 1. Now, of course, it'll make an obnoxious noise, should we want it to. Okay, but say you don't want that obnoxious noise to happen until later. Well, you have a slider over here called delay, and it will put a timed delay that controls when this envelope activates. So if we put it up a little bit, initially you'll just hear the appropriate pitch from VCO1. and then it'll go into the effect. So that's really helpful if you want some particular modulation to come in later over time and sweep through time. This is the way to do it. If you want a really, a sound that morphs over a long period of time, or a weird effect that gets worse and worse, or something else that comes in, this is how you would do it with envelope 3. So it's extremely useful. And I don't need to tell you that all of these envelopes can be directed everywhere in addition to the jobs they already have. So and then of course, directing them elsewhere, you also don't have to have the same intensity as the previous setting. So if we have envelope 3 controlling the pitch of VCO1 right here, we can also have it mildly affect, metal in oscillator 2. So oscillator 2 will get more metally if this should come. There we go. And so you can have it affecting both of those two things independently at different amounts. So yeah, these envelopes can be directed anywhere and all over the place. So those are our envelopes, and you've seen me apply them a number of times in previous videos, so you know that they can control the everything. And certainly, as we saw in the assignable aspect of the matrix, you can have those envelopes control anything that is pretty much a knob or a slider, or you can have the envelope control the intensity of a modulation that already exists. Like if we have the LFO doing VCO1, we can use an envelope to control how that modulation occurs over time. So very, very useful, relatively straightforward. Some synthesizers don't have one ADSR, and this one has 3. So that's really awesome. Okay.